Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, maliciously complied when cleaning the fridge for grandma. Want me to work while my kid is sick? Okay. I'll gladly do inventory for you. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Maliciously complied when cleaning the fridge for grandma. My grandma is a hoarder. She honestly keeps a wide mix of things she can never throw out, has not been through in years, and has no interest in going through any of it to get rid of anything. This also applies to food, and there's no acknowledgement that normal people's houses don't look like that. I say this not to embarrass my grandma or anyone else who hoards, it just sets up my story. For the most part, hoard was not that bad. I was able to walk down most hallways. I lived with her to care for her some since she was over 80, and the chances of her breaking a hip or going unnoticed under a pile of hoard was possible for her as it is for many of her age. I was used to not being able to throw anything out. The packages that came out of catalogs went directly into her room. Occasionally I'd find something new in the one quarter of a bedroom I got to keep, but not often. The inside fridge, which she used, was full of expired things she wouldn't throw away. I often used the garage fridge since it was emptier. One day I got my favorite command from her: clean the fridge. I got it through text so neither of us can pretend she didn't ask me to clean the fridge. Since this is my deserves her own season of American Horror Story without the hoarding grandma, she meant I needed to toss the one thing of mine she uncovered in the hoard she didn't want there. Knowing full well I couldn't get any backlash from an aunt for following the vague instructions I'd actually gotten, I spent the next 2 hours filling 4 separate 13-gallon trash bags out to the trash, tossing it all out, and actually cleaning the fridge. This was one of a few reasons I was inevitably kicked out. I also made her comply with doctor's orders as her caregiver, the absolute horror that is, but this was a great day for me. Want me to work while my kid is sick? Okay. So this story happened not too long ago. I work at a nursing home as a CNA. I have 2 children. A 17-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Sometimes when my kids get sick I have to go pick them up or not go into work that day. Lately my little one has been getting sick easily, which the school won't take her if she's vomiting or has a temperature. Especially since we just recently got out of the pandemic. But anyway, my job has a new director. He's trying to get everybody on the same page of coming in on time and really punishing the ones that call out often. Now I don't call out a lot, but my kids do come first. And I don't have anyone else to watch my little one. Her father works during the day at the same time when I do, and my parents have cancer right now. So there's no way they could watch her if she's sick. So, my daughter gets sick again with 101 temperature and vomiting. I call out within the time that is allowed, which is 2 hours prior to my shift. I get a call back from my director saying that's unacceptable and that I have to be in at work. If I don't, I will get written up. He told me I should take it seriously because after a write-up it's suspension and then being fired. So, you want me to come into work? Okay. Cue malicious compliance. Sadly, I packed my sick little girl in the car with a lunch bag and activities as well as her pack and play and toys. Also a diaper bag. You can guess where this is going. I walked into work with my daughter and bags in tow. I walked into my supervisor's office and I told him her daily routine. When she eats, what the password is on her tablet, also when she takes a nap. He looks at me confused. He says, "Wait a minute, what are you doing? I can't watch her." I tell him, "Well, I can't either. I have to be on the floor doing my job that you refuse to let me call out of today. So you will be watching my daughter." By the way, she's been vomiting every couple hours, so make sure she stays hydrated. Just then, my daughter throws up on the floor. Not a lot, but enough to show that she obviously was sick. She starts to cry. He tells me that he's sorry, and he made a mistake and I am okay to leave. After this, I left and took her to the doctor to get her looked over. She's fine, she just has a bad cold which is making her vomit. I figured if he fired me I would just collect unemployment temporarily and possibly talk to a lawyer about being fired wrongfully. But hopefully after this situation, he will put thought into a mother calling off for her sick child. I'll gladly do inventory for you. So this story goes back a little over 20 years. As a kid fresh out of high school, I worked at a major electronics retailer that paid commission versus hourly. What that means is if your commission for the week doesn't equal $11 an hour, the company pays you $11 per hour for the number of hours you worked. Again, this was just before the turn of the century when cell phones were relatively new and home theater systems were a status symbol for the well-off, and I just so happened to be great at selling both of those. I was making great money as a young man. At some point, a new manager, DeAndre, started and wanted the salesman to do weekly inventory instead of the warehouse employees. DeAndre decided that we would only be paid $11 per hour to do so. This was a major problem for me and the rest of the sales staff as it was costing us money by taking us off the sales floor. After much arguing and calling out sick on the day I was scheduled for inventory, it was decided that we would be paid the average hourly rate of our commission sales for doing inventory. Great! Cue malicious compliance. No one really kept up with how often the salesman clocked in or out during the day. The only thing that mattered was that the sales floor was always staffed, so I would show up for work like normal, but not clock in. I would only clock in long enough to ring up a sale and then immediately clock back out. This drove my average hourly rate to as high as $125 in the first week. So the next week when it was my time to do inventory, I did so gladly, knowing the new pay structure. For 8 hours that day I made $125 per hour and left in a great mood. That was the last time I was ever put on the schedule to do inventory. I asked DeAndre when I would be put back on inventory, but he only gave me a "I hate you" look and walked away. Of course, I filled my fellow salesmen in on my idea, and shortly thereafter it was decided that only warehouse employees would do inventory. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.